Yes, people, what's happening? Just finished training, getting a hard graft here at the UFC facility. What a facility. And more importantly, I'm excited about his future. Let's go.
The email from his lawyer, I texted him and said, I think we should have a call. I think you, for everything I've done for you, I think I deserve a call. And he said, no. Man, fuck. I can't believe it. Very painful. I don't know, feels a little bit of a wasted few years. Pretty devastated. I've had a few days to digest what might happen, so maybe this interview's different to what it would have been a couple of days ago. It's not often you get shocked, and I blame myself. I forgot it was boxing. The loyalty that we've shown would never ever put us in this position. I made a mistake because I misjudged the character, and I backed him. When he was done, out, loaned him hundreds of thousands of pounds. You know, some people, loyalty really matters. Other people, maybe not so. There's a lot I could say, but we'll keep it classy. Maybe he's not quite the person I thought he was. I don't know. Look, maybe we'll talk in the future, but what can I say? He's just put a little bit more of a fucking rocket up my arse to say, okay, we'll see.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. Welcome to Fight Weekend, guys. We got a lot going on today. We got Sean Strickland, Anthony Hernandez. Man, there's so much drama going on with that. And we also have Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia taking on Mario Barrios. And this is for a title, guys. This is for a WBC title. Now, this video is not about that. I've covered some of that in my previous content. You guys can definitely take a look. But a lot of that actually has to play with what I want to talk about, especially this fight between Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios, because there's a lot of questions surrounding Ryan Garcia's affiliation. So let me get into it. Guys. But again, Ryan Garcia is just another side conversation that we're going to have because there's a lot of eyes on this fight. And I'm going to tell you why, because it all comes down to Conor Benn and Eddie Hearn and Dana White. And if you guys have been following the stories, if you guys have been following the news, the headlines, Zuffa has officially signed Conor Benn. Zuffa Boxing, guys. This is breaking news, guys, because, I mean, Conor is a phenom, all right? You guys, he's 29 years old. He's got a 24-1 record, 14 by way of knockout, guys. And he came off probably one of the most talked about fights last year, revenge fights against Chris Eubank Jr., and that happened all in November 2025 in London, guys. That was decades and decades in the making because their fathers had fought before. And Chris Eubank Jr., and Conor Benn were like, okay, look, you know what? We're going to do this. And although they talked about they didn't want to bring in their fathers and everything into it, the storylines are flooded. I mean, there was nothing they could do about it because this was family business and everything was on the line. Reputation, legacy, you name it. But it looked like a one-sided fight for most of it. Conor Benn had the upper hand. And if you guys notice, I mean, Eddie Hearn represents Conor Benn, or at least he did, Matchroom Boxing. And so it's just shocking, guys, because just now we hear that Dana White and Zuffa Boxing signed Conor Benn, and Eddie Hearn is just you guys seen the video. He's not happy about it at all. He's devastated, absolutely devastated. So I mean, look, months back, right? Conor Benn suffered his first loss to Eubank Jr. Okay, and this was a defeat that raised a lot of questions about his ceiling, you know, on the global stage, and people were like, you know, he's a good fighter, but he just doesn't have that factor. There's just something like this much difference between him and the next best fighter, and that sometimes people just never get. They train and train for years. They sharpen their skills. They even bring on new management, new trainers, and sometimes they still never get there, right? They say football's a game of inches. Well, boxing, combat sports sometimes can be a game of centimeters. And in this case, guys, it was a huge loss for Conor Benn. And he had to answer some very, very tough questions, emphatically, obviously. It wasn't easy. I mean, it was quite awkward in a lot of those cases. But now, all of a sudden, he comes back. He beats Chris Eubank Jr., and he's on a high. He's on a momentum. And everything is just rosy. And now we're talking about possibly seeing Jerome Boots Ennis taking on Virgil Ortiz Jr., and we're talking about some other fights. And then, of course, you recently seen AJ Anthony Joshua take on Jake Paul back in December last year. And now there's rumor. And then AJ subsequently retired from boxing because of the unfortunate circumstances surrounding his friends, what happened in Nigeria. And now there's rumors of him coming back into the fray of things. And so everything is great for Matchroom Boxing. But there's been this hidden tension between Eddie Hearn and Dana White, and there's been words exchanged between these guys because look, a lot of these big time promoters, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren of Queensberry, Golden Boy Promotions with Oscar De La Hoya, Mauricio Suleiman of the WBC, and then a lot of these other sanctioning bodies. I mean, originally, at first, they welcomed Dana White into their community, right, into the boxing community. But Dana White doesn't really. I mean, it seems like. I mean, I don't know, but from what we understand, Dana White wants to create kind of more of a centralized system with Zuffa, right? So he wants, similarly to what he's done with the UFC, he wants to be able to control, which fighter fights who, and he wants to be able to control the belts and everything. He wants to kind of keep it in one ecosystem. And that's been his bread and butter. I mean, that's Dana White's success with the UFC. You don't see UFC fighters competing in Bellator, PFL, or any other MMA type organization. If you're in the UFC, you're in the UFC. If you want to fight outside of the UFC, then you need to leave the UFC. And that's how it always worked. That's how it works now. And so a lot of these, I guess Dana White wants to create that same kind of system. And it's starting to put a lot of these promoters and folks that have been around in boxing for quite some time, including the sanctioning bodies, the ones who hold all these titles, right? The big four major titles, right? Like the WBC, WBO, IBF, WBA. And they're starting to be a little bit on the edge because they don't think that Dana White wants to work with them. And they're starting to get afraid that if enough fighters start moving over to Zuffa, like a lot of the good fighters, then people are going to lose interest in wanting to see their fights. And if they lose interest, or if people lose interest in their events, then that means less money. That means no hype. And all the hype starts going to Zuffa. And then next thing you know, we're going to start to see some of these big time promoters and sanctioning bodies probably just disappear. Just like that. And we're talking about over 100 years or more in some cases that these guys have been around. Okay? So now, with Conor Benn leaving, this breaking news, guys, with Conor Benn leaving, this is one of Eddie Hearn's big time talented fighters. Okay? This is one of his all-star fighters on his team. And for him to just get up and cross the floor and go over to like a competing organization, that's a huge blow, guys. And now people are starting to think this could be a trend. We're probably going to see a lot of this. And this is why I said earlier, all eyes are on Ryan Garcia, because we know that Virgil Ortiz Jr. And his promoters, his trainers, his managers are not seeing eye to eye with Golden Boy, with Oscar De La Hoya. They're actually embroiled in a lawsuit. And so this begs the question, will guys like Virgil Ortiz Jr. potentially, and even maybe, possibly, guys like Ryan Garcia kind of flip the script on their on their promoter Oscar De La Hoya and jump ship and go down and go, and sign with Zuffa. I mean, guys, anything is possible. Once they start getting some of those key names on their roster, that's it. You're gonna start. They're not gonna be able to fight at the Apex Center anymore in Las Vegas. They're probably gonna have to move venues and go to the T-Mobile Arena or possibly in Saudi or what have you. Because remember, Dana White is connected with Paramount. Okay, he's connected with he's connected with His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh. He's connected with with Riyadh season. He's connected with Nick Khan, in the TKO group, WWE. Like, I mean, he's got some big time guys that he's partnered up with, guys who've invested a lot of money and have a lot of stakeholder interest to make sure that Zuffa is successful. And again, this is why a lot of promoters are on the edge. And now, with Conor leaving Eddie Hearn, I mean, he's been with Eddie Hearn since 2016, guys. 2016. And just like that, you've seen the clips, you've seen the video clips. He joins Dana White's new boxing venture. And Dana didn't mince his words, okay? Dana's one of those guys, he'll tell you right to your face, what he's feeling, what he's thinking. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. And Dana said, Conor Benn is an absolute beast and superstar. He's ready for a world title next. And according to Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated, he reported that, well, I mean, we don't know all the bones of what this contract looks like between Conor Benn and Zuffa, but it looks like it's a 1-fight, 8-figure deal. 1-fight, 8-figure deal, guys. Just let that sink in for a second. Let that sink in for a second. All right, so look, this isn't just about Conor Benn. This is about Dana White and his aggressive plan to plant his flagship in the sport of boxing. First, Jai Opetaia. He's got Callum Walsh. Now Conor Benn. But, Callum Walsh, Callum Walsh, he wasn't with Eddie Hearn, but Jai Opetaia was. He was with Eddie Hearn. And now Conor Benn, he's the latest from Eddie Hearn's roster that's moved over. I mean, that's not coincidence, guys. I mean, that's strategic, calculated play at the end of the day. And look, for years, Dana's criticized boxing's fragmented structure. It's not that Dana, a lot of people say, oh, Dana doesn't like boxing. He hates boxing. No, actually, he likes boxing. He likes boxing. What he doesn't like is the way it's structured. And some of the players that are involved, and and Dana doesn't like the fact that sometimes a lot of these really good fighters don't ever get the opportunity to even fight because their ability to fight someone else or having a superstar fight or giving them the opportunity to do what they want to do sometimes is hijacked by their own promoter because they just don't either like the terms of the agreements or see eye to eye with another competing organization or I mean, there's so many factors in play, guys. I mean, yeah, sometimes that works on both ends as well, too. I mean, if a contract can't come to fruition, well, you have to peel back the layers a little bit to try to understand why. But in this case, Dana just doesn't like a lot of the shadiness too that's in boxing, and I can't speak to that, guys, but I mean, he's talking about a lot of the weird, a lot of the folks that are kind of guys who are in this business who are really more in it for themselves than they are for their fighters. Now, a lot of other promoters are going to argue against that, like Golden Boy, like, with Oscar De La Hoya. Mauricio Suleiman recently was on the Ariel Helwani show, and and that was like an hour-long segment. It was unbelievable. This is the president, of the WBC, and he was talking about how they even have the Muhammad Ali Act, and the Muhammad Ali Act is there to protect fighters from promoters, from bad contracts. There's a lot of important things about the Muhammad Ali contract, and that came to play because of a lot of the crazy and shadiness that was going on in the sport of boxing. So no one's disputing that there was some shadiness happening around boxing. I mean, it's fighting, guys, and you are going to get some savory characters that are going to try to, get involved in the game somehow. But certain kinds of acts and policies, I guess, if you want to call it, initiatives to help protect their fighters have been designed to protect those fighters. But Dana White doesn't believe in that. He thinks it's still very fragmented, and he thinks that the structure is broken, and he has a better idea on how he wants to achieve more success for boxing, better fights, bigger fights, and in a more controlled kind of a system. So, like, now he's entering the arena targeting established promoters, like powerhouses in the sport of boxing, and there's not a whole lot that they can do with it. And like with Conor Benn just recently jumping ship, I mean, guys, this is absolutely symbolic. Symbolic. Because, again, Conor Benn's not some, fringe matchroom fighter. I mean, this guy's one of the pillars, guys, in the UK market. So now this becomes bigger than a contract itself, right? It becomes Dana White versus Eddie Hearn, Zuffa versus Matchroom, UFC structure versus traditional boxing politics that have been around for decades, guys, decades and decades and decades. And the tension now between Dana White and Hearn has gone public. Tension between Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya has gone public. Right? So definitely a lot of those, I mean, Dana White doesn't care. I mean, he's going after folks and he's calling them out and he's not even friendly about it. Like, I mean, he's willing to work with you or what have you. I mean, he did express the fact that he wants to work with a lot of these, sanctioning bodies and stuff, at least initially for him to get a better understanding. But I think he's just kind of calling his play, guys, and he's just tired of what he sees as broken, and he's hell-bent on wanting to fix it. And it's not just about wanting to fix the sport of boxing. He's creating an entity for himself. And this is about money, guys. It's about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, the way Zuffa is operating, it looks like they are going to be the dominant powerhouse in the sport of boxing. And that's what a lot of these people are not happy about, because now they're starting to see their empire slowly start to crumble. Now, again, this is all just theory, guys, but this is what a lot of people are talking about. But every signing that happens now, with every major breakout star or competing star who signs on with Zuffa, is going to be another dagger, another nail in the coffin against their former promoters. All right? So, I mean, look, a one-fight, 8-figure deal, guys, I mean, that's huge leverage, guys. I mean, that's like a fighter betting on the upside, honestly, man. That's Dana White proving he can financially compete in boxing's elite market. And the real question, honestly, is going to be, who is going to be his opponent? Who is going to be his opponent? And is he going to get a world title shot immediately? Or is this just kind of like a statement fight that's making a big splash? And again, now I'm going to start to bring in Ryan Garcia, because this is where it gets really interesting. Ryan Garcia's name has been floated around. There's a lot of rumors swirling around Ryan Garcia that he's not really happy with Golden Boy. And there seems to be some chinks in the armor, so to speak, that are starting to get exposed between his relationship. I'm talking about Ryan Garcia's relationship and Golden Boy. And I mean, everybody is starting to really dig this crossover appeal, that social media volatility. That's chaos. I mean, you saw that video with Conor Benn training at the UFC center. Like, there's an octagon behind him. Like, wow, guys, there's some big stuff that's going on. And when you're talking about finding a way to bridge the gap between MMA fans and boxing fans, well, Dana, I think, might have found the secret elixir or ingredient to create that successful opportunity, because it looks like it's happening. Because there's a lot of crossover fans now, a lot of MMA fans starting to appear at boxing events, boxing fighters starting to appear at MMA events. Very, very interesting stuff, guys. Very interesting stuff. So yeah, that's pure chaos, guys. Media volatility. Yes, there's going to be a lot of that. And I mean, look, I'm not going to try to, sugarcoat any of this, romanticize anything here. Zuffa Boxing is still in its infancy. Okay, I'm not going to say unproven because, I mean, they've already had a few events now, but they're still in their infancy, but they're going according to schedule and they're going according to plan. They keep trucking along. And that's how UFC started as well too, guys, many moons ago, right? Look, boxing is deeply political. I mean, most of combat sports now, most of any kind of genre of sports, even basketball, football, hockey, you name it, baseball, it's all political. It's starting to get very political, right? Now you got, in boxing, you got these sanctioning bodies that control the belts. They control the narratives of which fighter fights who, and then you have these mandatories and stuff. I mean, Alexander Usyk, who's a unified champion, didn't agree to fighting the mandatory for his WBC opponent, and therefore had to relinquish his title, right? And now it's vacated. And then now you've got I mean, Hamza Shiraz and Christian Mbili were supposed to fight for the WBC title. That was a mandatory fight. I still don't know what's going on with that, but there hasn't been really any news about that. And it looks like Hamza is actually trying to see if he could even fight maybe Canelo Alvarez or something like that. I mean, wasn't part of the plan, at least part of WBC's plan. And so, like, there's a lot of these guys who are Terrence Crawford. He was stripped of his WBC title. But there was other reasoning behind that as well, too, for him not wanting to pay those fees. Shakur Stevenson, he didn't want to pay those fees either with the WBC and stuff like that, stripped of his title. Could there be potential news maybe around Shakur Stevenson maybe? I mean, guys, a lot of these younger fighters, they really care about their money, and they care about their legacy. And a lot of these young guys, they're very smart cookies, man. They're starting to see where the trend is shifting, and they'll probably all want to be part of that trend very shortly as well too, right? So anyways, networks still matter. Promoters still control their assets. I mean, it is what it is. But it looks like there is a paradigm shift that's happening that nobody can stop. So Ben is betting on a disruptor here, okay? And Zuffa, honestly, is going to deliver some major fights because now that they're starting to sign on some pretty big talent, it looks like this is Dana's visionary plan, and it's all coming to fruition, guys. I mean, when I think about Conor Benn and signing with Zuffa and doing this reportedly one fight, 8-figure deal that was reported by Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated, I start to think, I mean, this is a pretty big gamble for Conor Benn. But there's a lot, I mean, he's obviously clearly being incentivized by Zuffa to the point where he feels that this is a great deal. And I mean, he's sacrificing his long-term kind of promotional stability for this, high risk, I guess, high reward type of deal. But if this is the kind of stuff that Dana's trying to do and incentivize fighters to coming on board for like 1 or 2, maybe 3 fights, something along those lines, similar to what, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh is doing with Riyadh season, it could work, guys. It could work. So it's going to be very interesting because, I mean, if Conor sees the light and he does well and he gets his money, he gets paid, I'm pretty sure he's going to go right back to the bucket that provided him those, that money, and he's going to be like, okay, I want another one. Sign me up again. And that's probably what's going to happen, guys, right? So anyways, guys, the power structure is shifting in the sport of boxing, okay? And a lot of fighters are watching. This is absolutely earth-shattering news when it comes to the world of boxing. I knew things are going to happen. I didn't think they were going to happen this fast, guys. Jai Opetaia. Now you have Conor Benn. And there's so many rumors swirling around Conor Benn. Even Conor Benn and Shakur Stevenson were in the ring calling each other out. I mean, guys, this could actually happen. I mean, if Ben gets some massive fights quickly, more fighters are going to be watching this. They're going to be wanting to test the waters themselves. And if it gets stalled, then yeah, then the old guard will be like, see, what did I tell you? Don't always jump to what's shiny in you. Come to something that's a little bit more tried, tested, and proven, a little bit more traditional. But I mean, Dana's not a newcomer when it comes to the world of combat sports. The UFC is a force of its own. And if you know anything about the UFC and its success, I 100% guarantee that Dana White will reciprocate that success in Zuffa Boxing as well. And rather than going guns a-blazing, because he has all the money in the world right now, and he's got all the big guys, he's got big networks, he knows all the top people in those networks, he could just go balls to the wall right now and put on some massive, massive fights and just like really shake you-know-what up. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to be very strategic, very meticulous in his moves. He wants to start putting on these events, similarly to what he's doing with the UFC, and getting people accustomed and acclimatized to their culture, to their brand of boxing. And then those big fights are going to start to happen. And that's how he wins. Slow and methodical, not just guns a-blazing, balls to the wall kind of an attitude. That's not Dana. Dana's here for the long term. He doesn't want to risk everything over one or two fights. He's not that kind of guy, right? So I don't know if he's trying to reshape boxing. I don't know if he's trying to, if that's even his agenda. But whatever he's doing, it's working for him. So I don't know. What do you guys think, guys? I mean, this to me looks like the beginning of a boxing takeover. That's what I truly feel. Or is this just hype? Drop your thoughts and comments below, guys. I read all the comments. And if you guys enjoy combat sports analysis that goes beyond the surface, no fluff, no fight biasness, just real fight talk, guys, then you're definitely at the right place. And because of that, we would love for the opportunity for you guys to just smash that like button, hit the subscribe, and hit the notification so you guys never miss a beat. And then let's talk tomorrow, because there's going to be a lot of action happening tonight, and I can't wait to share those details with you guys in the next one.